Hey everybody, hello my fellow Americans. Alright, I wanted to work on the second video while I'm trying to cook, so I'll give you an idea of what I'm doing here. I'm frying chicken. Oops, don't want to put my phone in it, but I got all my stuff out and I'm frying up some homemade chicken because my husband found a bunch of legs and thighs at a real affordable price. So I thought, what the heck, why not? I haven't made fried chicken in a very long time. Very long time. Okay, now I'm going to put you over here. I think, I don't know. I'm trying to get you where it's not got a glare from my kitchen light. Sorry. I think that's probably about the best I'm going to be able to do. What I was talking about in the first video was about what it's actually like to try to manage money when you're not earning a lot of money. Now, I have had this whole problem for over 30 years, and we have always, there were a few times my husband could find a really good paying job, but I'm going to warn you about those really good paying jobs. The really good paying jobs have a lot of restrictions on you. For one, drug tests. And a lot of them still will test for marijuana in your bloodstream. Say you don't use anything else, marijuana can cost you that job. Now, a lot of companies are learning that it's a really good idea when they have a good employee who fails that drug test to put them through counseling, but they don't get paid. They get to go through counseling to get off of the marijuana, because these companies got to worry about lawsuits. And if you're working any kind of equipment and you harm someone, they can be held liable, responsible for that, those medical bills. If you hurt yourself and they have no way to say whether you were intoxicated while you were working, this isn't about a drug war or hating you. It's about making sure you are in the right frame of mind to operate machinery. I'm frying chicken right now, right? If I was working at a company where I had to fry this chicken, they would have to worry about it if I get burned. Here, I only have to worry about it. But if I was working for KFC or even McDonald's, where they do their chicken nuggets, they do their french fries, that's all cooked in oil. Now, best advice I can give anybody frying chicken, homemade style, you're going to want to keep turning your heat down once your oil gets hot enough, so that your oil does not get dirty too fast. Just an old tip from my grandmother. And, okay, so here we go. I got a couple pieces getting ready to come out. I've never tried to cook and talk to anybody before. Well, unless you're in the room with me. Then, yeah. Okay, that one can still cook a little longer. This one looks good. I don't want them to get overcooked where they get super hard, because I have trouble eating, my tooth problem. And I'm trying to find a way to make that not such a problem. Okay, now I got to get two more pieces in. And this is some breast meat that I cut up into chicken strips to make it more than one chicken breast. Is now 3 pieces of chicken. So, and you're going to have to go back to some of the old resources that your grandparents used to know, and to be able to get yourself really moving again. Anyway, what I was talking about was What's appropriate attire and behavior when you're at work? And when you're applying for a job. Now, I want you to think about this first. When you're applying for a job, it is not about you. It's about what you can do. Not about you personally. So your personal life, which means your self-identity and all that, doesn't belong in the workplace at all. And a lot of companies are getting rid of the DEI programs that brought people who were unqualified for the jobs in, while passing up good qualified workers who will show up every day, not harass the customers, and is pleasant, polite, and can communicate well. You're not throwing a fit over being misgendered. That will get you fired. Now, recently, companies used to get rid of the person who offended you. Now they don't, because they had to get rid of too many people who didn't understand how this gender identity thing works. Because most of their customer bases are grown-ups who pay bills and buy their products, like chicken, like burgers, sandwiches, all of that. And when you're dealing with something like that, look where my hair is. It's up in a bun. And it has nothing to do with, and one of my chickens ready, it has nothing to do with your personal identity. Because when you're at work, you are not you. Your identity as a person is just null and void. You traded that for a paycheck, a uniform, and you are now a representative of whatever company you work for, not your personal ID. So if you're going to start screaming at your customers about misgendering you, you're going to get fired. They're just going to let you go, because all they have to do is say that you are difficult for other employees to work with, or just the customers or have a hard time communicating with you. Anything like that can get you canned. I don't know if you realize that, but it's something these younger people and young adults are beginning to figure out. Because, you know, when you're losing your customer base because of someone who is too emotional to do their job without taking offense to every customer that does not know them personally. When I go into a place, like I said, because of woke, I'm actually afraid to talk to any employee, even managers, because a lot of them have gone to this, we're woke, we're woke, we're woke. Well, good luck staying in business. I'm just not going to shop there anymore, or I'm just not going to buy your products anymore, or I'm not going to call you to clean my house, or I'm not going to call you to do whatever. Because when you're at work, your job is your identity. And your parents seem to have got to tell you that. Now, I'm sorry about that, but that does have a lot to do with the Gen X, what they call themselves silent generation. They're not silent. They're absent. And they were absent when it mattered to their kids. And you can tell it in their kids. Okay? So, I don't go into that kind of stuff. I don't subscribe to it. I don't think it's a good practice for anybody to do if they want to survive. If they want to eat dinner tonight. If they want to buy clothes. If they want to get stuff they need for school. If they want to have new technology, buy a car. All of that is going to be depending on how willing you are to give up your identity to represent a company that's giving you money. This is the real world. It's not this garbage that you've been fed in school. The real world makes you pay electric, makes you pay gas, makes you pay telephone, makes you pay TV, makes you pay for everything. And you're taxed on all of that. You're taxed on your utilities, you're taxed on your cars. Every year you have to renew your tags on your cars. And in some states that can be as high as $500, $600, $700. Depends on the state you're in. But the average smaller state is usually about 400, maybe 500 every year. And that's just to register your car. You're going to have to get your insurance about every 6 months. You're going to have to come up with several $100s. Now, if you're young, $700 because if you have car payments, you have got to have full coverage insurance. You're young, so your insurance, you have no driving history, your insurance is going to be high. So you want to know how to make it in this world, huh? Because I do see a lot of people going, we need to get higher wages. No, you do not. You need to manage your money better. If you've got a credit card that has a high balance, get rid of it. Get rid of it. And remember, when you're going to your job, they are not responsible for your bills because that company has their own bills. So the mind frame that you go into that job interview with, and the more you understand about what is being required of you, so you can get that money for that car payment, get that money for whatever. I mean, if you're young and single, you think, you know, I got all this extra money because I don't have anybody else to support but me, and I'm making $20 an hour. But I'm only getting 20 to 25. If you really work hard, you might even make it up to 30 hours a week. Now that took my daughter-in-law 2 years to do. So I wish her the best of luck on that one. You're going to probably need 2 jobs just to pay the basics so you can get a full 40-hour week. Now, with every paycheck you get at $20 an hour, you got to remember you're in the higher tax bracket. You can't look at your boss and say, what is this? I want more money. They're going to tell you, you're going to have to go somewhere else. I can't pay you more. Because, you know, just to have the employees we have is $20 an hour per person, per shift. Plus the electric, the Wi-Fi, all the equipment, your uniforms, all of that costs the company money. Money, money, money. That's why most will not give you a 40-hour week, because they have a budget. And when that budget gets exceeded, the company closes their doors. But I see companies closing their doors today that are not overpaying. They can't find employees who are not so wound up with their own personal lives so they can't function on a job. You want a job, say you do find a job in fast food, okay? Any fast food. Like around here, paying $12, maybe $16 if you go to Taco Bell or one of those. You might be able to find a little higher. But it's not going to be like California. But the cost of living here is pretty much the same as it is in Texas. It's not cheap. Your utility costs are high here. Insurance costs are high here. Buying a car is expensive. You know, I used to be able to go buy a used car for $1,000 or less. Fix that car up a little bit, put a little money into it. And I had a good car for probably another year running at least. before I had to replace that car. We call them disposables. And we drove a lot of disposable cars over the years. So, when you go to work and you go to apply, I'll be right back. Let me get the spreading off my hand here. When you go to apply to a job, first you want to make sure your appearance is clean and you have no body odor. So if you're prone to body odor, buy some deodorant. Borrow the money to get it if you have to. I know the dollar store went from $1 for a deodorant to $3 for a generic brand. Oh. So you're seeing it there too. So if you are looking for a job and you go in there and your hair is all stringy, not brushed, you don't look or smell like you're taking a shower in a month, then I promise you, you're not going to get called for an interview. Your application will most likely be tossed into a file of unqualified candidates. It's what they call them when they reject them. They keep the application, but they will never call you for a job. What did I do with my cup? I left it in my cornmeal. So, not only do you have to smell decent, if you're going to be dealing with people in the public, like customers, you also need to make sure your breath's not too bad. I know a lot of people don't think about that, but I have gone up to a register and went, whoa, and actually had to restrain myself from the response. Now, some people have issues like me. It's nothing bad about the person at all, and they're probably very good at their job. In most cases, they're very quick and very professional, and they get you through the line as fast as they humanly can. Robots do not get you through the line any faster. In fact, they usually cause hang-ups with checking on item prices. That's why I prefer a human being at the register. Now, that doesn't mean everybody does. If you've got one item, 2 items, maybe 5 or 6 items, definitely go through the self-checkouts if they're gone. That will move the traffic along at the register and ease up some of the pressure on the poor register person. So, when you get the job, if you are able to get through the interview successfully, and say they give you a work schedule, well, you're new, we've got to put you through the training, which is oftentimes about several days to up to a week, and you're just mostly watching videos before you go to work with the other employees. Because this part is to make you familiar with the company's policies and procedures that they have set for you to safely do your job. Very important. Very important. Now, okay, you're dressed, your body's clean, you've checked your breath, and you're good to go in and get your training done. Now you get your training started, and you get paid training. Most of the time, the paid training is not the wage you will be making when you're done with training. Once you completed the training successfully and answered all the questions at the end correctly, then you're going to go out and work with the other people that work there. And this process can be a little bit intimidating. It wasn't even in my day. First of all, I'm usually working around people I didn't know. And that's scary today because you've got to make sure you don't offend anybody by saying hello. So what you got to do is you'll get a little customer training first, usually. They'll start you out where you are making drinks for the girl who's handling the window that puts out the food. So you got to be able to do that. Then you have to be able to learn how to talk to these people. They're going to give you a little headphones, maybe put you up by the front in a register, depending on how busy it is. And there are certain times in every business that it gets super busy. And people are impatient. And people are rude. But you have to keep your wits about you. This is a true test of your strength, of how well you can control yourself in a tough situation. This is where you're going to prove how tough you really are. Because threatening people is not tough. Keeping a job and paying bills, that's tough. And if you can manage to do that, you're on your way to getting out of poverty. If you think that the economics are going to keep getting worse, you're right. They will. Because they play the game of, look how good we're doing. That's government politics. And so you need to forget about that and think about your job. It is going to be the most important thing in your everyday life. It is going to take precedence over your children, your friends, everything you do. Your job will be priority. When they pick up that phone and tell you so-and-so didn't show up, will you come in? You say no. Unless it's an emergency that you said, no, I can't, I'm at the hospital with so-and-so. Okay, that they would understand. But if you're just saying, no, I ain't gonna make it, it ain't happening, I ain't coming in, then you probably will not be asked to come in and help again. Because companies are reliant, dependent even, on the flexibility of who wants to earn extra money. This is where you're offered extra hours you would not normally get. Is when your job is telling you, oh, sorry about that, please come in, we really need some help. Say no, okay, you might as well count yourself as till that job will be gone. Because now you're a problem employee. You're not acting as part of the team. And nobody's going to want to hire you any place else. Because when you do quit over the demands, they will replace you with those thousands of other applicants they had in hand when they pulled out your application. So, what's the first thing? Your appearance is clean. Second thing, your response to questions and your ability to communicate with others. That's going to be the factors that are going to say whether you keep your job or not. You can even be a little on the slow side. You'll get warnings about it and they'll irritate you with it. But they're not going to be in a hurry to fire you because you show up every day and you do work hard when you're there. It's not about just showing up. You got to be a participant of the business because your ability to earn is determined on it. So, you got the job, your appearance is good, Your communication's good, you've gone through your training, and now you're learning to work at what they call the different stations. You probably started out in drinks before you start dealing with what we call the customer service part of the job, where you're going to work the register. You're going to learn how to take orders. And if you can't follow instructions, you're going to have a very, very hard time finding a good job and keeping it if you can't follow instructions. And to most of these employers, they're like, these instructions are pretty simple, and we train them to understand these, and then they see it in the workplace. They actually see it work. So, okay, now you're there. You're working. You've made it to, say, the second station. You're taking orders. Now this is where things can get tricky. If you don't speak clearly or loud enough to be, not yell, but I have a good enough tone you can hear me on this video. Okay, it's 26 minutes because I've been cooking. I will get back to you.